Shalom, shalom. I want to give all praises and honor and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Ruach, Wadash. Yahweh is the Most High, the Heavenly Father, and Yahweh Shai is the Messiah, the only begotten Son of the Heavenly Father, which these are the true names of the Most High and His only begotten Son in the ancient Hebrew tongue, which is the holy language which the Heavenly Father have given us in these last days to call upon His true name and His Son's true name in spirit and in truth. I also want to give double honors to the elder apostles, the elder bishops, and the upcoming elders that rule well and that teach well of Great Millstone. I am not a member of Great Millstone, but I do believe these men to be the true prophets and teachers which the Heavenly Father has set up to feed the people knowledge and understanding. That's my humble opinion. There's other prophets, that are not, part of GMS, are affiliated, so, just, throw that out there. I also want to give peace and blessings unto the elect, the house of David, the 144,000 elect men, whoever you may be, and shalom to the fellow laborers that testify of Yahweh Shai and that publish this word. In the lesson, the focus of this lesson is prophecy. Esau is moving. Ultimately the Lord is moving. With His, His word. Esau, he's now, bringing in the National Guard. Deploying, military in Washington, D.C. And it's also publicly coming out and saying that he's going to, also do these things to other cities as well. Esau, he's getting ready, according to prophecy. He's getting ready to, come down upon the people with great wrath. Martial law, police state, draconian measures. These are things that, the prophets warned about. I could get into the information of what's going on, which I have nothing written down. I usually read, this information, right? But I can't really lean on memory. I just want to, go into the scriptures, for those, those who know about, the scriptures, the truth, who have an idea of prophecy, but for the beginners, Lord willing, you are able to get what you can get, But I have a couple of scriptures I want to get real quick. Make this lesson quick and quick and simple. Let's go to the book of Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 2. Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 2, verse 11. Let our strength be the law of justice. So Esau being strong, right, his military might, he's going to try to establish his new world order. What he measures to be right, to be good in his eyes, to be agreeable in his eyes, and he's going to establish it by way of military force, which that's a common theme, a thing with Esau, even going back to the Greco and Roman Empire, the Greek Roman Empire, being as strong in his, eras, disregarded, any form of morality, of any form of good, and really, crafted his own sense of what is right, And that's in this time, it's his new world order, man. Getting the people, to receive a microchip in their body, and to be really subject unto his digital system, trapped in his open air digital system, man. Get the people worshiping the image of the beast, and taking a mark is a big, role in that, and this is something that he would do by strength, by way of military might, and he would give the people no choice, or he will give the people, he's going to become draconian with it, and the two, grievous things which he will, threaten and cause for those who refuse or resist is imprisonment and death. Martial law is biblical. I'm just running, simple, going to the point. I'm a little bit weary. I just drunk a cup of coffee. Probably shouldn't have done that, so I feel a little bit weird, forgive me. Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 2, verse 11. Let our strength be the law of justice, for that which is feeble is found to be nothing worth, yet feeble, weak, and who's that in his eyes? The children of Israel, which today are you so-called Negroes, you Latinos, you Hispanics, you Native Indians, man. The poor, the poor and needy, and this man, he will do things according to his new world order, his new world agenda, not regarding how it affect you. He's going to take away your freedom, your liberties, and your benefits. He's going to take away your rights, which that's, mentioned in the book of Isaiah chapter 33. He's going to break his covenants, his own constitution, that protect you people and your rights, man, and your freedom. The freedom to expect, the freedom of speech, that liberty being chipped away. Even now, it's being chipped away, because now you have these different platforms, YouTube, and other platforms, apps, now dealing with identifying people in their ages, identifying, again, I can't really lean upon memory, but there's news reports, that goes into something like that, basically these different companies are now, about to start, identifying people, so, I wish I, wrote these things down, but, Lord willing, you know what I'm talking about. If you are watching for the prophecies, if you seeing, the evil that Esau is doing, you know what I'm talking about, but in fact, let's get that precept real quick. Let's go to the book of Isaiah real quick. Isaiah chapter 33, verse 8. It says, the highways lie waste, the wayfaring men ceaseth. He hath broken the covenant, he hath despised the cities, he regardeth no man. So, and this is what he's about to bring. The evils that's about to come, which Esau is going to be a cause of it, It's going to lead to what? You people's rights and your liberties being taken away. The Constitution that protect you people being taken away. It says he regardeth no man, so he's about to become ruthless. Completely fierce. Very aggressive towards you people. From there I want to go, and I want to touch on this aspect as well. Romans chapter 13, I may end it off with that. Because the thing is, what Esau's about to do, the Lord permits it. The Lord is allowing it. The Lord is making it in a way. You go into the book of Isaiah, they tell you, the scriptures tell you, the Lord create, the evil, man. So the Lord, he's about to bring this evil upon you people, upon you jigs, upon you Israelites, that authoritarian spirit that Esau is about to come in, that draconian spirit that Esau is about to come in, that bitter and harsh spirit that Esau is about to come in. The Lord is the one permitting that. Remember, the Lord controlleth the minds of kings. Proverbs chapter 21 verse 1. Right? Esau, he have his MK Ultra. The Lord has his MK Ultra. But in righteousness, the Lord literally controls the mind of kings, man. So that harsh spirit that's going to come upon the rulers, the Lord is allowing it. In fact, before I get Romans, let's get Isaiah chapter 19. Because it speaks about that harsh king, that hard king. Isaiah chapter 19, verse 4, it says, "And the Egyptians, which is you Americans, will I give over into the hand of a cruel Lord." And that cruel Lord could possibly be Donald Trump. But nevertheless, basically your rulers in general is about to become very fierce, cruel, man. It says, "And a fierce king shall rule over them, saith the Lord of hosts." So that fierce and cruel spirit, the Lord is going to put upon the rulers. And with that, I want to get this Romans chapter 13. Romans chapter 13, verse 3. "For rulers are not a terror to good works, but to the evil." Now, of course, balance it out. When it comes to you righteous, those of you who live a holy conversation, the Lord's gonna try you. The Lord's gonna cause you to go through the fire, go through trouble, temptation, to refine you. You're gonna go through your different hardships and your oppression. Some is gonna be in prison, some is gonna be persecuted. But this really is a time of condemnation for the rebellious of our people. When you read this chapter, it gives you an idea. It basically implies that the Heavenly Father is the one who controls the rulers. you know. And to further prove this lesson, when the Lord, calls Esau to become very cruel, to the point where he's killing people, casting people out of their houses, having his military roam the streets, becoming very, very cruel unto the people, martial law. People are going to be killed by military, man. This is major prophecy. It's not a conspiracy theory, it's prophetic, man. People are going to be cast out of their houses. People are going to be put in detainment camps. Esau will have his military use lethal force. And this is prophetic. So when the Lord, bring this to pass, or when this come to pass, that's the Lord doing it. And this mostly is going to lead to this mostly is for the condemnation of the wicked. It says, but to the evil soul, Esau, he's about to become a terror. Very terrible, very cruel unto, those of you who do evil. And basically the excuse for, or the excuse of Esau, basically bringing the National Guard and the military to Washington, D.C. is that, is what? Crime, high rate of crime, and who's basically behind a lot of the crime, the violence and the murder in Washington, D.C. You Israelites, mostly, more so the southern kingdom of Israel, the Negro tribes of Israel. So, the Lord's gonna put that spirit on Esau where he's gonna be very cruel unto you. And if you people and you Jakes, of course, according to prophecy, the land of Judah is going to become a terror onto Egypt. That's prophecy, which we are experiencing that now. That prophecy. A lot of Jakes are basically a menace to society. But basically what I was going to say, and when you Jakes thinking that you could, protest and riot as you did in the past, consider this, which in fact there was some document in the past, I think a year ago or 2 years ago, there was an issue of Esau basically concerning him using lethal force in case of a civil unrest, a civil strife and chaos. I forgot what they call it, a mandate or measure or an issue, whatever it's called, But, Esau, he's already prepared to use lethal force in case of in case of civil, strife, man. So, basically, I'm saying this to say, the time shall come when Esau and his military, or with his military, they're going to cease from using rubber bullets. They're going to use real bullets, Right, but I'm gonna end it off with that. I want to close off on that. I want to give all praises and honor and glory to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. If you believe in Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, and have His Spirit, His Word, and walk according to the Spirit, according to the Word, the Lord got you. The Lord cares for you. The Lord have respect unto you. The Lord regards you. And it's really, you know, talking about the coming problem. We also gotta make known the solution, the way of salvation, and to simplify it, to you. That's really, it, believe in Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai and walk according to his ways. Start make it simple, Shalom.